Hi Scorpio, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of March. We're still dealing with such a new era and a new energy in this age of Aquarius. Both Saturn and Jupiter left the sign of Capricorn at the end of 2020 and ushered in a whole new vision for all of us. And Saturn is how we structure and anchor our goals and learn our karmic lessons. And Jupiter is how we expand and magnetize and learn and seek higher wisdom. And the two met up at the first degree of Aquarius on the winter solstice in your house of home and the family and emotional security. And this is really your focus in the year of 2021. Re-establishing your security. Maybe you're reinventing or creating a whole new foundation for yourself. Maybe you've started your own business and you're finding new ways to innovate in Aquarius, which is so centered on technology and inventiveness. Nonetheless, this is a huge area of focus for you. Saturn's going to be in this area of your chart until March 7th of 2023, and Jupiter's going to be here on and off until December 29th of this year. So really finding your security. Mercury, which is communication and thoughts and ideas, has also been in Aquarius in this sector of your chart since January 8th. And it's going to be here until March 15th. So a lot of focus on getting organized and getting centered. There's also been a lot of focus on romance and creativity because 3 planets in Pisces are transiting in your house of creativity and romance and love affairs and children and self-expression. It's a very nice energy. Venus, the Sun, and Neptune are all transiting in your house of love affairs and joy. So as much as it's important to focus on getting centered and on expanding your roots and your security and your home, it's also very important to find your creative voice, to find what you love, to explore romance and creativity, and to have a little bit of fun. So we begin the month on March 3rd. Mars has been transiting in Taurus in your opposite sign since January 6th in your house of relationships. That's been a big focus. Building clients, romantic relationships, friendships, etc. And it enters the sign of Gemini, where it'll be transiting until April 23rd. And this is in your 8th house of intimacy and healing and transformation and joint resources and debt. This is an area where you can really, get something accomplished with healing work and empowerment. It's good for focusing on your finances. If you have debt, taking care of that and taking care of healing and doing, work around that area. This is the Scorpio house in astrology. On March 4th, we have a really beautiful combination. Mercury, which is the planet of communication, meets up with Jupiter, the luckiest planet, at 17 degrees of Aquarius in your house of home and emotional foundation. And this is a beautiful energy. Jupiter is exalted in the 4th house. It's like the Empress card in Tarot. And having Jupiter and Mercury gives a whole new perspective on how you can expand in this next year, how you can reach your security and happiness and contentment. And it's very beautiful for communication and for just really reframing your thoughts and feeling optimistic. On the 10th of March, we have a romantic energy on one level, but a depleting energy as well. The Sun meets up with Neptune in Pisces, and that can be draining energy. It's in your house of romance and creativity. That can be very romantic, could be a little deceptive or confusing. on that date, the moon in Aquarius meets up with Jupiter at 12:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's a good energy for manifesting. And Neptune and the Sun together are also really good because Neptune rules the imagination. So this is a great energy for being creative and really using your manifesting abilities. On the 13th of March, we have a really romantic and beautiful new moon in Pisces. And this takes place in your house of love affairs and creativity and romance. And it occurs at 5:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 23 degrees and 4 minutes of Pisces. It's a beautiful new moon in your house of joy and creativity and love. Later that day at 11:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Venus and Neptune meet up in Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces. It's very loving and creative and magical and beautiful. Again, there can be a sensitivity there because Neptune can be so sensitive and emotional, but it's also very romantic. And Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, so really tapping into that energy. On the 15th of March, Mercury enters the sign of Pisces, also enters your house of romance and creativity, and it'll transit there until April 4th. So a lot of focus on your romantic life, on your creative pursuits, and on having some fun. On March, on March 17th, we have a nice aspect because Mars forms a sextile to Chiron, the wounded healer. And this is good energy for tapping into healing work and getting things accomplished. On the 20th of March, we have the spring equinox, and that occurs at 5:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is when the sun enters the cardinal fire sign of Aries. And this enters your house of healing and doing healing work and empowerment. And the sun will be transiting there until April 19th. And on that date, we also have Chiron meeting up with the sun. It's at an 8-degree orb, which is a wide orb, but it pronounces the fact there are a lot of wounds that we're all feeling. So doing the healing work. This is when the sun is above the equator, and it's equal day and equal night. So really focusing on what the next few months has in store. It's the first day of the astrological new year, so honoring that energy of new beginnings. But also on that date, Venus meets up with Neptune in Pisces in your house of love, also at a wide degree, at 8 degrees, at a wide orb, but also emphasizing the empathy and compassion, but also the loss and the wounds and the pain that we're all feeling, and just, resonating in that energy. On the 21st of March, Venus enters the sign of Aries, where it's going to be transiting until April 14th in your house of healing and joint resources. This could be good for fixing up your financial health. And then on the 25th or the 26th of March, depending on where you live, Venus and the sun meet up at 5 degrees of Aries. And that's a very magical, romantic, financial, and creative combination. And this takes place at 11:58 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on March 25th, or at 2:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 26th. And this is really nice energy to tap into and to connect with and to manifest, plan, things creatively, plan meetings in some way, work with that energy. On the 28th of March, we have a full moon that takes place at 2:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, at 8 degrees and 18 minutes of Virgo. And this occurs in your house of friends and groups. And that can be challenging around friendships. It sets off the lunar eclipse that took place on November 30th at 8 degrees and, pardon me, at 8 degrees and 38 minutes of Gemini. So it sets off that eclipse energy. It also is falling in your house of friendships. Maybe there's a little bit of an issue that comes out with friends. And on that date, Venus meets up with Chiron, the wounded healer, in your house of wounds. So I imagine that could be a painful full moon for all of us. And on the 29th, the sun meets up with Chiron. And this also pronounces the wounds, but enables you to do healing work because it's falling in that area of your chart. On the 30th of March, we have Venus forming a sextile, which is an aspect of opportunity, to Saturn. And that's a helpful energy of stabilizing your needs and getting your needs met. And on the 31st, the sun also forms a sextile to Saturn and stabilizes things and helps to bring stability to the ending of the month. A lot of focus on romance and creativity this month. A lot of focus on home and family for the year. I wish you a lot of luck and thank you very much.